Good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of High Top Sports. Today's show is powered by and brought to you by BetUS, and it is, in fact, the best day of the week, boys and girls. Good to see you. Happy to have you here. We are one step closer to not only college football, but until Florida football. We got college football this Saturday, which obviously we'll be talking all about. It is week 0. But it still counts. We got real ball. This ain't no scrimmage, ain't no preseason. It is the real deal. We got a jam-packed show for you today, as we always do on the best day of the week. Zach Alberverdi will be joining us here shortly to talk about his final thoughts after the last few scrimmages, last few notes, last presser we had on Monday with Billy Napier. Then we'll talk news around the league. Big-time recruit is happening. Commitment is happening this weekend. But before we get into any of that, let's go ahead and bring our co-host in, Mr. David Swolder Quist, everybody. Big Swole, what's going on, big dog?
Hey, man. Yeah, I had a good week. I can't wait for this weekend. I get to interview the Pouncey brothers, man. Probably get some draft whiskey bottles. I'm going to get them to sign one there for you, Sheldon. Might give one away on the show if they can
You're the man.
if they can get me one. It's the best day of the week, as I said. And Sheldon, you've been getting under some Miami fan skin just like me out there, haven't you?
You know, it's interesting. It doesn't take much to get people riled up nowadays. I was just sitting there driving. We were going to Barnes & Noble with Katie Loves going to the bookstore. And I was like, man, it'd be hilarious to post a little clip of Cam Ward highlights. I went on YouTube, typed in Cam Ward lowlights, and it was a 6-second clip of him just throwing interceptions. Screen recorded it, posted it, sent it, forgot about it. Almost 100,000 views later, here we are. Miami fans hated me, but we bonded. Us Florida fans bonded with FSU fans, so it was a good time over the last week. I was getting thrashed, but it was I enjoyed it. It was fun. I just trying to have some fun, just trying to enjoy myself, But here we are.
Yeah, a bunch of Miami fans, all they do is just bark and no bite. So we'll figure out what happens there in the swamp here, of course, because we always know we're going to beat Miami anyway. So
I love it. Well, Mr. Zach Alberverdi is here, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to bring him into screen here, and we'll get the show started. Zach, how you doing, big guy? Good to see you, man.
What's up, fellas? How are you guys?
We're doing well. We're doing well, man. Good to see you. We're in the final days now before football. It feels weird. I feel like we had a ton of information, and now it's just like cold turkey. No more clips. No more nothing. We're just sitting our hand in our pants. What's going on, Zach? We need something.
I mean, camp is over. Once camp is over, the access is closed, and the camp actually didn't officially end until tonight. So camp lasted all the way up until Wednesday. This was the final practice, and now they start classes at UF tomorrow for the fall semester. The guys get a little break, and then they get back on the practice field for game week. But that's why you haven't seen anything coming out, is because Saturday, the viewing period that they gave the media, was the last access for anybody for the rest of the year. We won't get in those gates again until 2025.
Wow, that's crazy to think about. And I read somewhere that Thursday, tomorrow, right, is technically, not technically, but the starting prep for Miami, correct?
Correct. Again, it's the first day of classes, so they can't, I don't know if they can do like they probably can't have like a scheduled team meeting, but yes, it's a mix of turning the chapter to Miami, but also guys getting in their classes for the first day. Technically, the game week doesn't start until Sunday, but they're going to get a few days, extra work in on this matchup. And let's be honest, they've already been looking at the Hurricanes.
They've got to.
Yeah. Yeah, I was about to say, that they haven't just been going through practice saying, yeah, we'll go ahead and just prepare for the Miami Hurricanes in 1 week and then or actually, I guess 2 weeks or a week and a half, and that's not going to happen.
Yeah, if anything, you treat this like another bye week opponent that you get to prepare for, where you just get a whole another week of extra prep and a chance to give these guys your best. It's going to take it.
It is, and we're going to talk about that obviously with you for a little bit. Then I've got some numbers to go over as well later on in the show. Before we dive into my first big question, I'm going to throw some curveballs at you today, Zach. I'm ready to bring all the juice towards
Let's
you.
Go.
But I do want to get your thoughts. They just dropped before the show. Dave and I were talking about it. All white, a whiteout for the Miami game. Where's the temperature on that, boys?
Yeah, I saw some fans don't like that they're using the same colors as Miami.
Not a fan.
I mean, the blue would be the best route, but the 3:30 kickoff has kind of taken that away. I guess they're trying to look out for Florida fans to get them in the white with that sunshine beating on them at 3:30. But hey, man, I'm only for the all white if you go all white. Let's go all white.
Like
White
the unis.
helmets, white jerseys, white pants. Why not? You know,
I agree. Let's be in unison here, boys. Like a white hot, white out.
make Miami pull out their green home unis and come to the swamp. We're gonna white it out. But Florida has been forbidden from ever wearing that uniform combo since that 2009 loss to Alabama in the SEC championship game, which is ridiculous. Well, no, did they? No, they wore it one other time. They wore it against Georgia, I think. Florida Georgia game. They wore all white and under
It's
Mullen.
been a while. I feel like it's been a while.
Wasn't it that Florida Atlantic game where we were all white? We still wound up winning, but it went into overtime, and Austin Harden had to kick in the game-winning field goal.
I think they might. I don't know if they have white helmets for that, but
please
we rarely get to see it.
I'm
but
looking at
if you're gonna,
I'm looking at my signed AR photo that we're gonna give away here. It's the USF game, I believe. We were all white with the Americans flag script.
With the Americans, that's right.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Kudos to AR there. So it wasn't that long ago. It looks fresh.
But I mean, if you're gonna go all white, I mean, I don't know how other fans feel. I'm a proponent of Florida switching up their unis and wearing the throwbacks and wearing the blue helmet. Come on, this is not a traditionalist program. Let's have fun with the unis. That's one thing I appreciated about Dan Mullen. He definitely let the players have fun with it.
I agree. I feel like Billy's definitely brought in the more Bama-esque style when it comes to the
Although I will say Billy also did bring the black jerseys out, so he gets some credit for that. But
that's his excitement.
That's right.
I was about to say, man, if I go down there and wear blue since I'm already white, does that count?
Yeah,
you can pull it off.
Look, the problem is, I was thinking about it. How many people have white Florida gear, right? We sold beat Miami shirts. They're in blue. I figured they're gonna wear all blue, right? That was my thought process. I even did the Kentucky. I did orange because I know you can't wear blue versus Kentucky. I was prepared for these things. Miami, I get a curveball week out. It is what it is, but we'll see. All right, Zach, let's dive in.
If anything, they should have went all blue, and then had the swamp all blue and
big game blues.
Throw on the blue helmets too with the tops and bottoms. Let's go all blue.
Big game blues, baby.
They've never done that before.
let's
Only on NCAA.
Oh, where's Zach? Yes, on NCAA, Zach, as you were saying, I get nasty with the combos on NCAA. I wear actually a little white and black combo on NCAA. I get it fresh with it. I get fresh with it. So, Zach, I want to kind of hit you a little curveball. First little bit here. Obviously, we've got our camp in order. A lot of conversations about a lot of different things. Heading into week 1, what is going to be your biggest concern? Now, it could be a position group. It could be Billy's play calling, Billy's ability to handle his business 2 minutes. It could be special teams. I don't know. But after you've seen all these things, after we've seen the changes in the offseason, we still have doubts, right? This isn't to be negative, but simply just I still have this in my pit of my stomach that I'm going to be looking for. It's going to be up here. What's that for you?
I think offensively, how does the offensive line fare against Miami's defensive line and then all the other defensive lines that they're going to face? You'll get a pretty good indicator week 1 of where that unit is at against the Canes because they have one of the best defensive lines in the country, at least on paper they should. So that would be offense. And then defensively, probably just the amount of underclassmen that they are going to count on in the starting lineup and or with the first team defense and how those guys play. I'm talking about the Sharif Denson at star, Pup Howard at Mike linebacker, and then TJ Searcy at edge. Those are all sophomores starting for the first time. So I think all 3 of those guys that I just named are really good. but they're young and they've never started before, and this is their first time doing it on a full-time basis against a big-time opponent. So how do they handle that stage, and are they, ready to replace Scooby Williams, Jaden Hill, and Princely Umanmielen, because those are the three guys they lost.
Look, that's a good point, and I think, and this isn't to panic anybody, but I think there's a healthy way to look at it and to trying to kind of digest and what to look out for. And I think those are things that, look, Pup Howard, we've all been really excited about, and I think I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Wingo get to start. That doesn't mean Pup
Agreed.
is going to slowly take over, but I think people are going to be a little shell shocked when they see the depth chart. And I think, and I was going to mention that today, and it's funny you bring that up. It's because Wingo is going to be the guy that you can rely on and trust. And Wingo, we rag on Wingo. He hasn't maybe had the most successful or explosive career, but lovable guy, great leadership in the locker room, and that's Day's breakout player this year, so he needs to start. But I think it's going to be Wingo with Shamar and the sliding Pup in. But that star and edge position, look, TJ got a lot of playing time. Denson, not so much. So look, you're not going to lose a game with those two guys. And I think this year, I think they've done a great job of putting more veteran experience. Last time you were on the show, we talked about Jordan Castell. Everybody's looking around like, what the hell do we do out here? And I think this time now Denson can look to his left and his right, kind of going back to our last show, and someone can go, yeah, you got this, or hey, we're doing this, and he can feel comfortable making those decisions, ideally.
Yeah, that's a good point. He'll be the only guy in the secondary that hasn't really started or has the experience. He'll have Moore, he'll have Marshall, he'll have Castell and Turner to lean on. That'll help him for sure, or it should.
What you got for me, Davey?
Yeah, I mean, I think Jordan Castell will add more, obviously add really great depth to the safety position. Obviously, it's his second year. He did do pretty well starting out the first year. Obviously, a freshman, it's his first year starting. He's not going to be phenomenal or anything, but he made some plays. And from what I've seen, the practice film and everything else like that, it looks like that, he's gotten better. I saw that interception that he had on the highlights, and I was just like, wow, I haven't seen an interception like that in forever, where they just go on spy mode and then they wait for the quarterback to throw, picks it off, starts running it back. I think we got a healthy corner situation there too. I know Jason Marshall probably didn't have the best year last year. I'm not going to say probably, he didn't. But I think that was also a lack of good safety play. I mean, you're having to make up for a lot of people that, you have to obviously substitute somebody in, or try to, if somebody's out of position, you got to run there real quick, and maybe you leave a guy open and there's nobody there. That's primarily what that safety is for. I think we got really good depth at safety now, especially what we did in the portal, bringing in Asa Turner, some of those other guys. So I think the defense in the backfield will be better. I think my main concern more, and I know everybody's talking about like offensive line and everything else like that, my main concern is defensive line getting pressure. I mean, Florida could not get pressure last year. And I think that, going into this game, and Graham Mertz, obviously with the offensive line, people are worried about the offensive line. Graham Mertz did really, really well under pressure. He did get sacked 28 times, but he did a lot better under pressure than Cam Ward did. And obviously we'll get into some of that stuff later on in the podcast. But I think that, I'm more concerned about defensive line getting pressure, because I think if the defensive line gets pressure, it'll help out this defensive backfield. The defense overall as a whole will obviously be better. The offensive line, I have a little bit of concern about it from what I've heard, but then I don't, because Billy Napier talks about how it's great. There's other people that say it's great. There's other people that says there's a right side concern. Graham Mertz has been pressured his whole career. He's never had a good offensive line. Didn't have one at Wisconsin. Didn't have one last year. And I think Graham Mertz did pretty well for the pressure that he faced. And I think that my main concern would be more D-line than O-line, but that's just me, and that's my opinion. But I would rather see the D-line get more pressure this year. That's just my thought.
Agreed. For me, it's going to be, look, I think all those things are valid. It's going to be a biggest thing. The biggest critic I've had for Billy is his ability. It's almost like he has a glitch in a game. He'll be on a rhythm. He'll be on a flow. He gets thrown a wrench into his flow and his system, and he just kind of makes an error that almost doubles back on itself. The triple reverse against FSU, right? That still it haunts me. We've got an opportunity to really step on their throats, close it, can't get it done. Tennessee didn't really come back out in the second half. We didn't glitch and mess it up, but it didn't feel like we did anything to overcome that. And it was something we saw all season long. Obviously, people are going to bring up 2 threes. I just felt like sometimes he puts himself behind the 8 ball due to play calling. So really, hopefully, I mean, look, this is going to be a tight game. It's going to be huge. Thankfully, Cristobal has a history of having glitches too, so it might be a battle of the glitches when it comes to head coaches. So it'll be it'll be fun to see it shake down.
Yeah.
So Zach, I got another question for you, and then obviously we'll get your pick here. I'm gonna go ahead and roll this, and then So now that you've got us all panicked on what we should be concerned about, Zach, what is your least worries heading into week 1 against Miami? Not necessarily the season, because I think, things are going to change and evolve, and there's obviously so many moving pieces that could, may not be a concern that can turn into a concern. But week 1, what is your least concern that you feel the most confident about? It's like, I'm not even going to blink when thinking about that.
Yeah, instead of just saying Graham Mertz, because that's an easy answer, I'll say the passing game in general. I just think between him at the helm, the receivers that have stepped up this offseason because of the transfers that came in, and guys kind of really, deciding that they're not going to get passed up on the depth chart by some of these newcomers. And that's not to say DK and Badger aren't going to make an impact, but they got a whole host of receivers that are probably going to play and make an impact and have production. So, and then you throw in Boardingham as well at tight end, and maybe even you get a little bit more from Hayden Hansen in the passing game. Like, I just feel like there's going to be no issues there. And that's even with losing Ricky Pearsall, your leading receiver from a year ago. But that wide receiver room is in a really good place. And obviously the quarterback room is in a really good place. And if Boardingham can play as well as he does on NCAA 25, Florida's going to be cooking. And then defensively, man, Dave just said it, but like that F spot, man, like that's a good position, man. Like I know the defensive line has to get better, but you got to think out of one of those 4 guys, one of them is going to be able to get pressure on the quarterback. So it would probably be either the upgrades that have happened at F because of Boone being back, and then LJ McCray and Cam James playing there with Sapp. I don't know who's going to start. And then it'd be between that and safety. But I just have zero concerns about either of those positions because they're stacked, and they've added guys to both of those spots that have upgraded them as well.
Look, I think that's something to speak about. Again, I know we get labeled as the Sunshine Pumpers, and I'm going to kind of check myself later on because I think it's healthy to do those things. But those 2 positions, the F spot and the safety, were 2. I mean, look, Princely was there, but I don't feel like he did what we all anticipated him to do. And that safety we talked about last year.
Well, Princely was at Jack. So last year, all they had at the F was Tyreek Sapp.
That's true.
That was it.
Kelby played there a little bit too, right?
Yes, Kelby played. Yes, you're right. Kelby played. That you had Kelby, you had Tyreek Sapp, and who was the other guy? Cam James. So
yeah,
that's right.
You really only had a 3.
Cam and Kelby moved in.
And Cam James didn't really play. Now he's going to play at that F spot, and now Kelby has moved to N/. I don't think he's playing nose, but he's going to play some inside. But like LJ McCray changes the whole dynamic of that position, and then Justice Boone being back also does. So you got like 2 1A 1B starters, I think, but LJ McCray and Justice Boone LJ McCray and Cameron James are probably better or have more upside than Boone and Sapp. So it was just
long-term.
That's a really, really good. Yes.
And that's not a shot towards those guys. Just to where they're at currently and what they could go to. So that position again with Sapp, and Sapp was kind of coming into that role throughout the year. And then safety, we talked about on our show when you were on about a week ago, where it was abysmal. With Castell was fantastic, but was very young and lost at times, and especially with around him. And now you're telling us, hey, those were at least 2 concern spots. And we've already talked about what we're excited about everywhere else, right? So there's some, again, these are, just kind of things to be excited about. Again, still got to play the game. I get all that, but love hearing that. Swalder, what do you got from me, guy?
Yeah, I also think I agree with everything that Zach said. That would have been my position to pick too, is that safety spot. And I think everything is you talk about like, not knowing where to be, all that kind of stuff. I think the addition to Ron Roberts over there in the defense, kind of helping out there, Austin Armstrong can get those guys, is probably got those guys better prepared to see, what position should you be in and all that. And, you just have more depth right now where you can move everybody around to like some of the natural positions that they're good at. I think that's what really a collaborative as a defense can really, increase the numbers of production there. And I think, this year, especially now, I know they've concentrated more on getting turnovers and tackling. I know tackling's been a big thing that they've practiced in the scrimmages as well. I think when you have a combination of, not a lot of missed tackles, you got guys playing naturally at some of their positions now. You got a lot of depth. I think that's what's really going to increase the productivity on defense. So I'm really more excited about this defense because I think it will be different. I don't know how much different. I don't know if it's going to be, hey, look, we're only allowing 25 points per game as opposed to like 35, or we're only allowing 20 points per game. So, I mean, like there's a big difference in turnover and points per game, all that kind of stuff. And I think, obviously you get more turnovers, you help your offense out. You can score more points. You can put more points on the board as well, or get in good field position. So I think the addition just of the staff and the strength and conditioning and all that, it's going to help. It may not be that big of a help, but it will help, and it'll help produce the productivity there on defense though too. But I am going to pick that safety spot. But along with that, I will pick some of the coaching there as well.
Yeah, I think for me, I gotta think there's the coaching on defense. I think with the addition of Ron Roberts and I'm drawing a blank now. Oh, Chapman. I was thinking about this earlier today, when obviously with Harris coming on all the time, talking about just the lack of energy last year, him being there for the Tennessee game, hearing the consistency of Chapman, whether it was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday at 6 a.m., Saturday at 7 p.m., the one consistent was Chapman was always yelling and screaming. And I love a guy that can be fired up Monday through Friday, 2 a.m., 9 a.m., 12 p.m. Doesn't really matter what time it is. I'm dialed in. Leading me to believe that, like, look, he's created this, that's a consistency that's going to be in these guys. And now, look, when you're in the swamp, I mean, if you need a Chapman to fire you up, this ain't the place for you. So you've got this natural, organic hype that's been instilled in you. And again, these are small things, right? These are things that I like. These are things that I focus on. It's just the little nuances of these guys when you hear about the camp. That is what I'm least concerned about, which was, in my opinion, a big concern last year. The lack of just energy throughout the game. It would seem to die down. It seemed that was always a big thing. I remember we going to Kentucky, going to Mizzou. I'm texting Sorley, how does the team look? How's the energy on the sideline? Because that started to become a point of conversation. Like, guys came out flat on our foot. We weren't really there. I'm like, what do you mean we weren't there? we practiced our whole lives for this, and we're not fired up. I think in this first game, given just all of what it encompasses, seems weird, but it's my least concern, which was in a weird way a concern last year. So feeling pretty good about it. Zach, moment of truth, big guy. It's a lot of Daves there. Too many Daves. I don't know if you've got an article or if you can tell us. We've got 480 strong in here. Be sure to smash the like button and go give Zach a follow at Zach Alberverdi on X. Who do you got? Game one, Zach. What's going on? Talk to me.
Yeah, I haven't made my official pick yet.
Uh-oh.
I will say, like I've said, I think that this is more important for Florida than it is for Miami, because Florida has a brutal schedule. This is one of their easier big games, quote unquote, that they could win. So because of that, I think it's important. Miami can lose this game and still have this soft ACC schedule where they can rack up wins and still have a good year. Florida doesn't have that luxury. However, I think that if Florida loses this game, it's not the end of the world. I also think if Florida wins this game, they haven't arrived. Like the overreaction, the overreaction that's going to happen to this game, one way or the other, is going to be like, I can't wait to listen to Steve Russell's post game show where people just call up, because if they lose, man, it is going to be
It's going to be
it's
wild.
going to be nasty. But I don't think that that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Florida's going to get it done in the swamp against Mario Cristobal, against Cam Ward coming into an environment that he's never seen before, against the defense that's much better. I think the way things are trending, Florida's probably going to have Montrell Johnson, which would be a huge boost. And I just think that this is a matchup that Florida has kind of put itself in the position to win, just from the way that they've developed the roster, the way that they've shooken up the staff. Like they've kind of progressed to the point as a program, in my opinion, that they should be able to go in and win a game like this. And I think they'll get it done.
Zach, I got to disagree with you one thing. When Florida wins on Saturday, August 31st, I'm burning this bitch to the ground. Okay, so it's not going to be a question whether we arrive. Okay, this place will cease to exist. All right, I'm concerned for my family and the people around me. All right, we back. Okay, here we come, boys. But look, I think you're right in the sense that Miami, they lose this game. There's almost the excuse of first game for Cam Ward. You're playing in a hostile environment. No big deal. Let's forget about it. The ACC's still wide open, right? Like that's
children conference.
Yeah, I love the new names we get week from week. I used to think a crappy conference was good, but all children's conference is phenomenal. That's a good one. I got yelled at by Brendan. We got yelled at because we called the ACC kind of lesser opponents. He didn't like that. He's a Gator fan. We'll get into his stuff later on, but I love it, man. I appreciate your take. I appreciate you coming on here and giving us your thoughts and opinions. Wrapping up what was fall camp.
That's right.
We've made it.
We made it. No, talking season's over now.
Well, I got a couple days left. Let me have it while I got it. All right, this is where I shine. So it's not sell me short.
You got a few more lies to tell.
Yeah, I got a few. I got a few to get off my chest. But tell them, Zach, where they can give you a follow. I know you got your Gators Online show with the boys and whatnot, but also too on X, man. We appreciate you.
Absolutely, yeah. You guys can follow me at Zach Abaverdi on X. Read me at GatorsOnline.com. If you guys aren't subscribed to a site and you need your fix on Florida football and Florida football recruiting, come check us out at Gators Online. We've got a 4-man team. We're ready for the fall. We're going to have news and stories around the clock. Obviously going to come on here and share the season with you guys as well. Can't wait for it to get here.
3.5. We got our man Nick Del Toro. He's out on he's in a cast right now. He's week to week.
He's on IR.
He's on IR week to week. Zach, pleasure as always, man. His at is down in there in the description. Go give him a follow. Go show some love on 3. Always a pleasure, man. Look forward to having you on back in the season when we're 9-0 headed into the end of the year, man. So I appreciate you.
That's right. See you guys.
Go Gators, man. Couple super chats. Let's go real quick. Devil Dog says, how about them Gators? $2. 480 strong, boys. We're not going anywhere. Smash the like button. Subscribe. Let's get to 200 likes before the end of the show. I love you. Good to see you. Hugs and kisses. $2 from Phoenix Riser says, screw all that. I'm feeling dangerous. # Go Gators. Look, we got a few things to go over. All right. And I want to go ahead, Dave. Sorry.
I said, oh yeah. Yeah. Go ahead, baby.
Well, look, I want to preface this because, I got a battle. It's a family here on the show, but, I always get labeled as Sunshine Pumper. I'm very optimistic. I love to be fired up. I love to go 12-0, all these great things. But I also I keep myself in check. Y'all think that I come out here just spewing out nonsense, but I like to be educated on the situation. I like to make sure that I come at this from a factual standpoint, not just an emotional one. Because if I wanted to come at this emotionally, we know I could just tell some shit. All right, we can lie our asses off. But I like to look things out. So I did some digging, full blown data. I got Brendan over here sending me 4 paragraphs a day, Gator alum, on all these data points. I don't like his data because it doesn't go with my thoughts. So we'll use some of it, but not all of it. We'll go over it. It's not to be negative. Look, it's just, this is numbers. Numbers don't lie. This is non-emotion out of it. I'm going to give you the numbers, present the numbers, and then we'll go from there. But before we do any of that, let's talk about it. On Monday's show, we went over this. Again, this show is brought to you by BetUS. The link is in the description. Check out BetUS and check out that link. When you click on that link, for your first 3 deposits, you get 125% back, up to $2,000. When you deposit up to $2,000, you get 125% of that deposit for your first 3 deposits when you use the link in the description and you bet with BetUS. I bet on Monday with old Mr. Stephen Harris. I think I put 25s on the bones right here. And I think it's moved since then. I think I picked Georgia Tech straight up though. I picked G Tech straight up, and I think SMU is minus 27 when I did the parlay, the high tops parlay pick. So I might have to go and double down on this one if anyone else wants to ride this with me this Saturday. But I'm feeling good about the G Tech. They've got the best quarterback on the east side of the Mississippi for week 0. But I'm loving it, and I have a huge shout out to our.
You should have saw what an ESPN analyst said. I can't remember his name, but he said that ESPN analyst says we have the best D line in the nation, Florida State.
Wait, the analyst said that?
Yeah.
The best D line in the state.
Yes.
Look, man, I think it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun out there in Dublin. I think it's gonna be a good game. It's gonna be an interesting one. FSU, I think they should get it done, but Georgia Tech kind of is that quietly. They had a big game. They had a big win last year. I think they took a fumble. I can't remember the team name, but they recovered a fumble at the end, then threw a touchdown at the last second. Do you remember that game, Dave? Who it was against last year, Georgia Tech?
Georgia Tech. I can't remember. I honestly can't remember right now.
The team was supposed to take a knee and they fumbled it. You don't remember?
No, I can't. I think it was some really shitty team they call Miami. I can't remember.
Was it like an FCF school maybe, or
yeah. I think they were FCS.
Okay, so it wasn't even that big of a deal.
Yeah. I
Okay.
mean, there is a bad team anyway. Nobody cares about it. So.
I love it, boys. Let's get into, there's a big time recruit happening this weekend. Let's talk about recruiting, and then we're going to dive into by the numbers, and then, of course, our new favorite segment, Around the League. A lot of moving pieces around the league happening over the last few days, but let's get into some recruiting. Billy is on the trail once again. So I think it was it last week? Yeah, Ben Hanks committed. Then we had Bryce Fitzgerald. Wednesday, we were leading up into, hey, could we have ourselves a 3 out of 3 weekend going into this weekend? We landed Mr. Ben Hanks Jr., the top 100 cornerback or safety. I think it's cornerback. Bryce Fitzgerald did, however, go to Miami, which is kind of ironic given the fact that we are slated to play them in just a couple of days here. And then the third trifecta that I was talking about is Nashawn Montgomery, which would have elevated, if we were to land all 3, Florida into a top 20 class on 247. We do have a ranked 21st on 3. Montgomery would, I think, crack the top 20. How On 3 looks at it versus 247, in case anybody is wondering, On 3 looks at the quality of the class versus the quantity. 247 takes into consideration more quantity. So I like how On 3 looks at it, because it's given, hey, right now what they've been able to produce, what they put on the field, this is where they stand, versus 247. You can just get a bunch of 3 stars and you could essentially be ahead of somebody with only a couple 4 stars. There's no right or wrong way, but go ahead.
Kind of like what Miami did, taking like 22 3 stars last year, the top half class.
Precisely. Getting them a few extra bumps there at the end. So Nashawn Montgomery, again, is set to commit August 25th, which is Saturday, right? That's Saturday?
Yeah, it should be Saturday.
Sunday.
Yeah,
Sunday.
Yep.
So we will look out for us, depending on what time that is, on doing a live show. It's a date day for the wife and I. Basically, the last little day. We're watching Deadpool, and then we got a draft that day. Our last little day together before the season really kind of hits off. So depending on what time it is, I may or may not be live for that. I know we love to get suited up and watch those things, as do myself, but we will be keeping an eye on, again, top tier wide receiver Nashawn Montgomery, top 100, and I think he's top 180 player in the country. Do you got any good data on Nashawn Montgomery, Dave, that we can look over before we move on? Or
the only data I got is where he says he feels the strongest at as a school. But yeah, I mean, as far as like any kind of data from Max Preps or anything, I don't have anything right off the top of my head. But I mean, this is a guy that obviously is a very coveted wide receiver. I mean, he's got all the big programs, all the big offers. He's down to obviously 6 schools here. Florida State, one of the in-state schools as well. With Florida, you got Alabama, LSU, Oregon, Penn State, Oregon, saying that unlimited NIL with their Nike guy that they have over there. So I don't know. I think with him, obviously, he says Gators are in the strongest position for his recruitment. Obviously, he says quarterback is what he looks at as part of his future. I personally pick Florida. I think he's going to pick Florida when the commitment comes around, but obviously this is NIL. This is last minute. Hey, here's a bag. Why don't you come here? Kind of stuff. But I feel strong in Florida. I think he picks Florida on Sunday.
I love it. Boys and girls, 500 strong. Smash that like button. Let's get it. Let's talk about by the numbers. Here we go, Dave. UF versus Miami by the numbers. So like I said, I saw someone comment, I'm getting a little nervous for the game. Same here, boys. I'm getting those early game jitters. You haven't seen we're nervous. Look. Nerves in a good way. When I used to play golf tournaments, I would get these little butterflies in my stomach, and I would play exceptional golf. It's that excitement nerves, not like a scared, unprepared nerves. It's just you're ready. You know what I mean? That anticipation, that want to just smell it in the air, to see what you've been hearing, right? I got to see Mertz snap the ball to give me some comfort. I got to see him look down the field. I've been watching old highlights just to give me a sense. Like I was getting clips making me feel good, right? Now I'm going to go a week and a half without seeing the boys. It gets me worried. You start getting in your head. We start spewing out lies. They're spewing out lies. Cam Ward's grew 3 inches overnight. He hit puberty, right? Mark Fletcher put on 15 pounds. He's running 25 miles. Like, I'm like, what the hell's going on? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I got Tom Brady's nephew stepping in at quarterback for 3. We're in no man's land right now, okay? So shit's hitting the fan a little bit, all right, Dave? I'm sitting there at night by myself with the lights turned off, hyperventilating of like, it's football season. It's almost here. We're ready to go. So that's where I'm at. But I'm good. I'm cool.
You good?
I'm good.
Good?
I'm good.
You promise?
I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know why people get nervous before games. I guess in the middle of a game, you can get anticipation. You can get nerves in the middle of a game. But before a game, I'm fine. I'm cool. I'm just watching the game. But, I mean, by the numbers, I mean, if you want to go by Graham Mertz and Cam Ward, I see this argument all over Twitter. Who's the better quarterback? Who's this? Well, I'll go just by some basic statistical analytics here. Completion percentages from last year. I'm going by last year because Mertz only was playing for Florida in 2023. I'll do Cam Ward, Washington State, whatever. I'm not going to go back his 3 years either because he turned over the ball a lot. And if I added that, then Miami fans would be really mad. So I'm only going to go back to 2023. Mertz, 72.1% completion rating. Ward, 66.7%. It was the second year at Washington State. So I would rather go by the second year for his and then go by Mertz's first year because Ward, obviously, you got to get used to a new system. So 66.7, which is good completion percentage. Graham Mertz, 72.1. Touchdown to interception ratio is where Mertz has Cam Ward right here. It is a 6.7 to 1. It's a 6.7 touchdown to 1 interception ratio, whereas Ward has a 3.6 to 1 because he's turned over the ball a little bit more. Turnover worthy rate is another statistic that I like. Graham Mertz, 1.4%, Ward, 3.6%. Obviously, big time throws were a thing with Cam Ward more than it was with Mertz. A lot of short passes from Mertz last year. You didn't really get a lot of deep passes from him. Obviously, did not have a lot of time in the pocket to throw it deep at times. We'll have more weapons this year. Hopefully, the offensive line's a little bit better. Mertz at a 3.9% big time throw rate. Ward at a 4.8. Sacks taken, 28 for Mertz, 43 for Ward. Mertz does get the ball out a little bit faster than Ward does. He has a 2.61 time to throw. Ward is around 2.8, 2.82, 10 to 19 yard passes in around like 3 seconds. It's really, really horrible. But fumble grade. You want to hear the fumble grade here. This is the one you want to hear.
Yeah, I do.
Fumble grade per PFF. 53 for Mertz. What do you think it is for Ward?
53 for Mertz?
Yeah. 53%. He got hit a couple times. Put the ball on the ground.
65?
No, the lower the person.
Oh,
the lower the
points.
The lower the
okay.
points.
I was thinking like a percentage. All right, 20, 32.
Oh, you're close. 27.9. Adjusted completion percentage, which I kind of like adjusted completion percentage because it kind of tells you, okay, well, the quarterback did his job. Did the receiver, or was it in the area? That kind of stuff, or did the receiver drop? So the adjusted completion percentage for Mertz would be 80.2%, Ward 78.6%. That's pretty close. Passing yards. Obviously, Ward had a lot more passing yards. He played against way crappier competition. He had 3,723.
Hey,
Mertz.
real quick, can you answer this question? Because I saw you tweet it today. Mertz is one of 3 quarterbacks in the SEC since 2008 to have double-digit checkdown rates, 30% of his checkdowns. Didn't you post the average passing yards earlier between Mertz and Ward? I believe you tweeted that at somebody.
Are you talking about the ADOT levels?
No. I think I saw that on Twitter. I think the average.
That doesn't matter. Okay. What matters is passing yards. Are you getting the ball down the field? Whether it's yards after the catch or whether it's getting it down the field, are you getting the ball down the field? Mertz, 2,910 yards. Ward, 3,723 yards. Obviously playing crappier competitions, but you look at both quarterbacks. Mertz is more of the guy that's going to take care of the football. He's not going to turn it over a lot. Now he's being asked a little bit more out of the coaching staff that we have heard to, hey, throw the football a little bit more. Make measured, calculated deep throws. Don't just throw it deep and turn it over when you get pressured. Ward is more of your risk/reward type of quarterback. He's going to go for the big play, and sometimes it's going to land, and sometimes it's going to go horribly for him. I don't think he's that great under pressure. I think Mertz is way better under pressure. That's why I'm not too concerned if the O-line is, maybe kind of like it was last year in this game. I'm not going to say that's going to be that way, but say the O-line does, get pressure on Mertz. He gets the ball out quicker. I mean, we're not exactly chucking it down in the flats to Xavier Henderson anymore. We got some speed now. I mean, we've got Jure Hawkins you could chuck it down to, Aiden Mazzell. You've got Badger. All these guys are running 4.4s, 4.3s, and Hawkins with a 4.2. Like, you've got guys with speed that you can check it down to if you're getting pressure. And those guys are going to get upfield. So I'm not worried if Graham Mertz gets pressure in this game because I know what he knows how to do with the football. I know how he can get it out. Like, I've seen him get it out when he's been pressured a lot. Obviously, he's taken sacks. He's tried to run out of the pocket and he's got hit 28 times. But Ward's taking more sacks than him against way crappier competition. I don't know where. And now I will say Miami's offensive line will probably be a better offensive line than he's played behind. So you got to factor that in there. But Ward takes a long time to throw the football. So it's kind of a catch-22 on both ends. So if you want to go by the more efficient quarterback, and I actually asked ChatGPT this. So I put down every statistic from PFF, from any kind of site I could get, CFB stats, any of those. And I said, who is the better quarterback? Who would you choose as the better quarterback? And it says the same thing that I put down. It said, you got more risk versus reward with Cam Ward. He's, you got a more efficient quarterback. The safer pick would be Graham Mertz just because of that. So ChatGPT picked Graham Mertz over Cam Ward, just like you.
I like that you do that. Dave will put those again. This isn't like he's asking ChatGPT a question just based off the internet. You can supply the information that you've accumulated.
Go ahead. Keep going.
Yeah, and accumulated it and put it in there and pumps out based off that information. So obviously people can say, oh, well, he skewed it, whatever. Couple of things we've got to unfold here. I want to play devil's advocate and answer these questions because Brendan wrote me a paragraph. And Brendan, true Gator fan, has that other scope of looking at it, which I appreciate. And then I'm going to pull up a chart. This chart was PFF, and I looked offense and defensively, and then I'm kind of going to go from there. I'm not going to give you more on that. Talking about Cam Ward, going to be playing behind better offensive line, 100%. But something that people are overlooking is that what you just stated is when we're looking at both quarterbacks, Florida had one of the worst offensive lines in the country, yet Mertz still put up better numbers that we just went over than Cam Ward did. But I'll give you, he's going to have a way better offensive line. To be honest with you, it's not necessarily he has more time. If you go look at the highlight reel that I posted, he had plenty of time, just made poor decisions. And when you really look at everything, what's going to concern me, it's going to be the run game, is what I'm more afraid of than Cam Ward. I feel like Cam Ward's the new shiny toy, so we all want to point to that thinking he's going to be what's scary. Even think about going back to that Utah game, because Brendan brought up a good point of doesn't matter what Cam Ward did last year. Graham Mertz sucked at Wisconsin last year. Yes, the advantage we have, right? And this isn't a shot towards Miami. We play Miami 5-6 in week 5 or week 6. This is a different conversation. Cam Ward's been in the system for a little bit longer. He's more comfortable. Completely different conversation. We have a huge advantage by playing first game at home, new team in the swamp. Mertz did not look good against Utah. He threw for 300 yards, had a QBR of 30. Didn't do all in all that well in the grand scheme of things. He threw for a lot, but made some bad decisions because he was obviously in a new system trying to figure his thing out, going into a system, i.e. being Utah, a well-established football team. Now, let's go into data that I pulled here, okay? So what I did was, and keep this in mind, I know this is going to be kind of a little bit weird to understand, but I took the PFF score from last year for every starting position that we think is going to start, right? So quarterback, you see, that's obviously Mertz at 75.8, compared in 80.2. So Cam Ward had a higher overall PFF score. Then we've got the running backs. Obviously, that's going to be Montreal, Trayon Webb. That's going to be Mark Fletcher, and I can't think of the other guy's name, but they crush the running back room. 84 and 83, like I said, those concern me. Wide receiver room, we got 2-1 on that score, but there's a lot of talent there. DK isn't on this list. This is Badger. That's numbers coming in. There isn't Aiden Mazzell. There isn't Hawkins, right? These guys aren't on this list because they didn't have enough time. Then we get to the offensive line. Miami, I think, is considered, according to PFF, overall as the better offensive line. But when you break it down individually, we lose the one tackle position, but win the other positions. Again, Brandon Crenshaw comes in with a very high PFF score at that tackle position. The guard position, Najee Harris did a lot of great things last year. Our center. And then the other guard is, I can't remember who the number is with. But again, you see the numbers that are lining up here. Tight end, we pull the edge out just by a little bit. And then at the bottom there, you see the overall average of what the score gives you. Florida pulls it out 72.6 to 71.6. Now, I know the numbers don't mean anything, right? You got to still play the game. But I'm trying to play the other side. I'm going to look at it from a non-emotional standpoint. Because if you ask me who's going to win, Gators by a million. Miami sucks. The ACC sucks. They shouldn't be allowed to play football, right? But I wanted to take more of a professional aspect. Okay, so we've got a little bit of an edge on offense. Not much. Just a little bit. You can call it a pick 'em. All right? Let's head into the defense. Let's take a look at what that shows us on that. So this is where they have the edge. Linebackers, both linebacker positions, they take the starting job there. I believe this is Shamar James and Pup. Again, Wingo was very low. Miles Graham, Aaron Childs don't have a score. So who knows how they fit into the situation. Safety position, we dominate, which we were just talking about, the least concerned about, most excited about, to be honest with you. Cornerback, they carry the edge a little bit. Strong safety, right? That's that Denson, Aaron Gates era. We have it, the edge, but it's a little bit of a skewed score. Not a lot of snaps there, right? Then we've got the D line. I kind of did 2 defensive linemen, 2 edge rushers, that jack and a half position. This is where their strength is. They've got a top 10 defensive line according to PFF, and that's something that we've been talking about. And then overall, they carry the edge, 73.4 over 72.6 with the overall. So here's where we're at, okay? We're headed into the swamp with a damn near identical team.
Did you factor in schedule difficulty with that?
So I didn't, right? I took the emotions out of it, right? Because look, we've got guys in there like Joey Slackman. We've got Ace Turner. Their score is helping us. We had a defensive line, Joey Slackman. He has a 90.2. Brandon Crenshaw. So you've got...
You added in the transfers from this year. Okay.
Both teams have this advantage, though. Yeah, both teams have this advantage. It's all straight up equivalent, right? So like again, there's so many nuances with this data that you can really dive into. I was trying to just look at it from a black and white paper perspective. On blue chip stock coming in, I know Florida leads the way at like 58.6. Miami's at 57.6. Guys coming back, I know Florida's just a little bit of ahead, I think, or right where these two teams are identical, right?
So close.
It is so close when it comes to talent on the football field. So where do the edges start coming in? I'm going to take Graham Mertz all day long. Maybe 5 weeks from now, Cam Ward could be the edge and pull it out and say, hey, that's the guy. This is not a shot towards Cam Ward. But I like the fact that Graham Mertz is headed into a second year. Like, if you don't want Graham Mertz at home, his second year into the system over a Cam Ward, then you don't care about winning football games. I'm not saying that Mertz, I'm not here to get into a pissing. I believe he's better. But if I'm taking my Gator hat off, and let's just look, I'm not saying either one is better, but in this circumstance, I'm taking Graham Mertz in this circumstance. I'm genuinely trying to have a conversation here. I know my fans are still going to lose their shit because there's a lack of brain cells up there, so they're already losing their shit already. Trying to take it for that grain of salt. Brendan, I'm on a tear here, boys. I've been thinking about this the last 48 hours, 72 hours. Shit's been bothering me, okay? I'm tired of getting yelled at in the chat by everybody. Brendan sent me a long-ass email. Best part I loved about this email was he crunched the numbers for the advantages of playing at home. There's been 16,000 FPS versus FBS games during 2000 to 2023. Looking at stadium numbers, a stadium analyst looks at the average home attendance for each team, calculates the data, and then says, did that team with the bigger average home attendance win for all those 16,000 games? When the attendance delta is 10,000 or more, the bigger school has won 73% of those times. Okay? 6 of our 11 of our opponents fall into that category, meaning we play in the swamp, right? 6 games we play in the swamp. So we should win, according to history, 73% of those. That's 4.3 wins. This also kind of helps us where, hey, guys, are we going to win that over 4.5? Again, these are just numbers. We're taking emotion out of it. And then the other fall 5 in the reverse category where they have a less, when you play on the road, they should win 27%. So that's about 1.3 wins. So Florida's now sitting at 5.7 wins. That's at over 5.5, but it's 4.5 on BetUS if you want to check that out. And Florida has a history of winning of a winning record of 75%, so 2% higher than the national average when playing at home. I tell you all this to tell you again, the big advantage is that Florida also is going to be playing in the swamp against a quarterback and a system for the very first time. My biggest concern, like I said in the beginning, it's going to be the run game. Cam Ward doesn't run like a KJ Jefferson last year. He doesn't run like a Jaden Daniels did. He had 114 rushing yards last year. He's not a run guy first. He's more like a Caleb Williams. He can utilize his legs to extend the play, but he's not going to slice. I mean, he can. I'm not saying he can't, but he didn't. That's not how he utilized his legs back at Washington State. So, all in all, Gators by a fucking million, boys. I don't know if that means that, if that's what you guys are looking for, but
I was waiting for it.
Those numbers is still Gators by a million. Look, I really wanted to kind of dive into it and we're going to hopefully have some Miami guys on next week to talk about it. Everyone has their thoughts and opinions. I think Miami does have a talented football team. When you're going through that PFF, seeing those names, what they did last year, yeah, a lot of talent. I see why these guys got them. A lot of people are picking them to win 11 games. A lot of it has to do with their schedule, right? And playing in the ACC. But I don't know. I can't find it upon myself that there's talent-wise, it's there. Also, too, I went and looked. Okay, maybe it comes down to the coaching, right? Mario Cristobal, 73-72 in his coaching career. Billy's 52-22. Give Billy the edge there on that one. Went back and looked at quarterback development for Mario Cristobal. There's an article written 3 years ago calling him the quarterback killer. I'm like, all things are pointing to the right direction right now, boys and girls. We might be in good hands. So that's all I got. Gators. I don't know if you guys need more numbers, but I hope that fixes Brendan's thoughts.
I see some comments from some Miami fans in there is like saying, "Oh, well, what's Graham Mertz's average depth of target?" Okay, yeah, okay. So Ward had a better average depth of target because he took more risks. Mertz did not. What's the average yard per attempt? What was that last year? Well, Mertz was 8 and Ward's was 7.7. So
that's what I was asking for you earlier. You're throwing that number out, but it doesn't even support your argument because the average completed, Mertz still wins. Also, too, Tom Brady has 7 fucking rings by checking it down, boys. Okay?
No shit.
Joe Milton, hey, guess what? Joe Milton can throw it 80 yards too, guys. How'd that work out for him?
Hey, look, this is the thing. And Shane Matthews has said this 1,000 times, and this is a quarterback, a legendary quarterback at the University of Florida. He said, I would rather have a quarterback that can do all the short pass plays and get everything out and do all the little things right rather than somebody that chuck it down the field 70, 80 yards. Because at the end of the day, yeah, your average depth of target might be way more than another quarterback, but how much success did you have? Going by these numbers, you didn't have that much success. Going by the turnovers, you didn't have much success. So what does that even freaking matter? It doesn't.
I love it, boys. I think, Dave and I are fired up. What's funny is I texted Dave like, hey, we're gonna do by the numbers today, and we didn't talk about what numbers we were gonna look at. This is how our brains work. We went our different directions and had 2 different angles at it, which I'm glad we did. I think look, again, it's just numbers. This isn't going to tell you a story, but it's going to give you the best idea, best thought process. What isn't incorporated into these? You know what's not incorporated into these numbers? Justice Boone wasn't part of this number. There was no score for him last year, right? And there may be players like that for Miami. What isn't incorporated into the scores is the adjustment to Mike Roberts, whether or not he's going to be in the box or on the football field. The adjustment of promotion of Russ Callaway, how much impact he's going to have. There's so many things. And again, Miami has these caveats as well too. But all these numbers look solid without the changes that have been made in this offseason, right? Like we're looking at these numbers. These numbers are produced with what we considered a atrocious team last year, right? Without lack of coaching, without lack of development. We're hearing and we're hoping that those things have turned a corner. So who knows what these teams can be? Devin Moore was not a part of, or I think he may have been a part of that list because, again, not much playing time last year. Didn't see a lot of him. So we'll see. Look, I feel extremely confident, obviously, going into this game, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that the ball is going to be snapped to Mr. Graham Mertz. And this, again, people are not going to like that, but you've got a 6-year quarterback. You've seen the success in guys that have had tenure. Cam Ward also a very tenured, I think he's a 6-year quarterback too. So you've got 2 very tenured quarterbacks, but I keep saying it. I'm going to say it until it's not working. Is the fact that we have out of the 12 games that we play, I think there's only 2 other teams that have a quarterback that's returning for a second year. 3, and it's the 3 teams that I have circled on my calendar of that's not going to be okay. It's going to be Georgia, Texas, and Ole Miss. A&M has I know Connor Wingman, but he was injured last year, so he didn't play the whole year. But these guys are kind of working their way into the system for the very first time.
Yeah, and I find it kind of funny too. And I talked to a couple of media guys about this, and I said, Florida's been pumping out a lot of good highlight content, like just because you're not giving too much away of the practices if you're pumping out just like these little clips here where plays were being made and all that. I don't really see that much from Miami. I'm wondering maybe they just don't have any good clips to put out there.
Probably not. Brendan says you guys crush the stats today. We got applause from the stat master, so I appreciate it. And look, I think someone said Mertz is a good quarterback, not great. And look, I don't think you need him to be great. You just need him to be good and to do. Mertz needs to do what Mertz did all year last year. I think if Mertz does what he did for the majority of the year, I think Florida's going to be just fine. The defense has to stop.
Oh, and by the way, look, if you think Graham Mertz is going to throw it short every single play, go ahead, bring your guys up front, bring them all up front. That way we can just toss them deep on you.
I swear to goodness, I'm telling you, when White Boy Turner picks one off and that hair is flowing out the back of that the lettuce is coming out the back of that helmet and he's running down the sideline and that stadium is erupting, Miami boys ain't gonna know what hit them. I'm gonna tell you that real quick, okay? I'm telling you, when you got lettuce flowing out the back, okay, sleeved up, A's Turner just flying down the football field, I'm getting goosey just talking about its hair staring up. I'm on my legs right now, and I've never even seen it. I'm drawing it up in my head right now. Mick Hubert's on the call. He clocks in for one play. That's where we're at with this, boys.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, to me, and this is a non-biased opinion, very fucking non-biased, as non-biased as it can, minus the trash talking, all that. I just don't see Florida losing. I just don't. Unless Florida turns over the ball like crazy, I don't see how that would happen. Unless Miami can get a run game going or Florida turns over the ball like crazy, I don't see them winning. I mean, I don't see them losing. I don't see Miami winning. I don't see Florida losing. So
I love it. He goes, no trash talking, all seriousness. Miami just fucking sucks. All right.
I think they got some good pieces, but I think the way that their fans talk act like they're going to have a first rounder go and just it's going to be all Miami for the first round and nobody else is going to get picked.
That's what fans do. I love it. Boys and girls, let's give it a one last shout out before we move on to our rest of our show. Our other sponsor, which is BetterHelp. This show is brought to you by and sponsored by BetterHelp. When life goes fast, it's important to take a moment to celebrate your wins. This year's gone by so quickly. What's something you're proud of in 2024 so far? What is something you want to still accomplish this year? There's still time, boys. Let's make adjustmts. Therapy can help you take stock of your progress and set achievable goals for the next 6 months. We are pumped to be powered by and partnered with BetterHelp. They're a fantastic company. Allow for you to speak with somebody, hold you accountable. You take a little quiz like you see on the page here. Then based on your answers, they suit you with a therapist that's best suited for you. Maybe you don't like the therapist. Maybe like, hey, this conversation isn't feeling good. You can change it. No extra cost. Easy squeezy. The best part about it, it is convenient. It is online, which is best suited for you. I think the biggest hurdle with therapy is I don't like driving somewhere. It's such a busy schedule. I don't have time to go talk to somebody. But it's important to talk to somebody. And BetterHelp allows for you guys to do that. So we're pumped again to be partnered up with them. So take a moment. Visit BetterHelp.com/hightop today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/hightop. High top, boys and girls. We appreciate you. Thank you, BetterHelp. And let's get to Around the League. Even Stadium Gale here is saying big fan of therapy, by the way. I think, look, I mean, it's in a way, this is my therapy every week, to be honest. Like, I just getting to talk to you guys, get to chat. The fans are ruthless at times. They can get it, in my head a little bit, but a lot of people show a lot of love and a lot of respect and appreciate, what we're able to do. And I appreciate you guys constantly coming back. So I love it. This was an interesting one here. The SEC football official tiebreaker came out today. So for those of you that don't know, there's obviously 16 teams now in the SEC. There is no East and West, wide open. So top 2 teams go on. So they created this is tiered, right, Dave?
Yeah, apparently.
A tiered tie-breaking list. So I guess if they tie,
I'm guessing that's the order they go in, how they listed it. I have no clue.
So first would be head-to-head competition among the tie teams, right? So let's say but if Florida and Mizzou are tied, which we don't play them, we'd have to go to letter B, right? Then it goes record versus all common conference opponents among the tie teams. So I imagine they both could go undefeated in the SEC because they don't play each other, right? So that would be, we move on to letter C. Record against highest best placed common conference opponent in the conference standings and proceedings to the conference standings among the tie teams. No clue what that means. But I feel like that would eliminate it, right? At that very moment, unless, I guess, if let's say the third team is Georgia and both teams have beat Georgia, but then I think you would just go down the list. So unless it's like perfectly synced up, then I guess you would move on to letter D, which would be a cumulative conference winning percentage of all conference opponents among the tied teams. That seems more easy to tie than the other ones. Okay. Then E is...
I was reading some of this like earlier today, and I just kept laughing. I was just like, "This is crazy.
This is that
dumb."
lawyer shit that just gets me in my head. We need Callie Bearby on here. Capped relative total scoring margin versus all conference opponents amongst the tied teams. This will settle it, right? So capped relative total scoring margin versus all conference. So basically, I'm assuming their total score, the margin plus against the conference, just the SEC, which if they're tied there, which would be crazy. F is a random draw of all tied teams.
Could you imagine that? We were talking about that, like a random draw. Like, who would trust that? Like,
what I would love, I wish the ACC was like this, and Florida State has to get into this. It's a random draw.
Yeah, just say, Florida State, you guys are out. Sorry. That's
Kurt pulls the name out of the hat.
Yeah, I mean, like, we're talking about it. I'm like, nobody would trust that this was a completely random, like, just draw, because you got to think about it. What's going to get you more TV ratings? Let's pick that team. Okay, yeah, we're going to get more ratings out of this team. We'll go ahead and just randomly draw this. Like, I mean, how do you think TV networks going to think about that? Like, I mean, hell, they put TCU in the damn playoff in 2022 after losing to Kansas State when they knew Alabama was the better team, and then they get blown out by Georgia in the playoff.
I love it. Look, I don't think we're going to have to ever deal with this, but at least it's out there in case it's needed, boys. So now you guys know. 470 strong. Smash the like button, boys. We need 200 likes. Let's keep it moving. All right, so this is Oklahoma State. Gundy has been on a tear this offseason with his comments about the drinking. And then he goes, these guys keep asking for money. The players keep coming asking me for more money. And his quote about putting QR codes for the old people at home. You got to know what a QR code is now, but it's those like weird looking little boxes, like a little scan code that you see, like just kind of stick it on the wall and you scan it and it takes you to some random website. They're now putting them on the back of helmets. And Gundy was like, yeah, like if a player does well, they can just scan their helmet and send player money to the player. I was like, this is the modern day, like Tomahawk and Buckeye sticker. You know what I mean? Hey. This is the virtual sticker. That's what this is.
So when I go down to Gainesville, I'm gonna get like a barcode for like my hat, for Cash App. So anybody that just walks by and says, "Hey, Dave, I'd like to show you," go ahead and just scan it, send me some money, man.
just a walking QR code. I'm like, what? I get it. Like, I think it's cool, but it's like, bro, you think I'm gonna be like in the stands, like sniping Eugene to pay him? Like, I don't get it. I love how Gunny's like, I'm done paying you fucks. Put this on the back of their helmet. If you guys want to pay these guys, go ahead. Let's just go ahead and hold it up to the stand. You're going to see the Oklahoma State guys just walking on the sideline with their helmets. Just
you know how at games they give you like the full roster of like players and all that? There's going to be like little QR codes next to them.
It's crazy. World of NIL, boys. Who would have thought you'd have a barcode on your back of your helmet right on the football field? I love it.
I mean, you think that's going to work? Like, people are in the stadium wanting to get like beer and food, and that stuff's already expensive. I don't want to pay somebody.
I mean, look, he makes a really good play. Hey, if Asa Turner takes one down the house for 60 plus, give me your helmet, Asa. I'll pass it around I'll pass it around the student section. Let's load this boy up.
Yeah, what if that was around when like the heave to cleave happened? I could guarantee people would be scanning Tyree Cleveland's helmet, just sending him all sorts of money.
It'd be nuts. The major right hit at Oklahoma, that'd have been good. Breaking news. I guess this isn't really breaking, but Patrick Mahomes is starting for Nebraska, which I guess is pretty cool. And it's not Patrick. It's Dylan Raiola has been announced the starter for Nebraska. Look, I mean, Nebraska being good at football is good for college football. It is. So I'm excited for them. I'm really excited to watch Nebraska football. I'm hoping they are good. They don't affect us in any shape or form. I don't think they're going to go and win 12 plus games, but Nebraska being good is fun. I think Rule's a funny coach. I think he carries a very great charisma. People may hate or like him for whatever reasons, but he's fun, right? Like he's like a Gundy. Like he's got a little wild side to him. Seeing Dylan Raiola, somebody that was a part of that DJ Lagway class, right? It's that new era of college quarterbacks. Really excited to see how he's going to do, get the nod. And now you kind of really see, look, he could see the line at Georgia. He wasn't playing this year and probably not next year. For him getting the nod at Nebraska, you can kind of see the writing on the wall that this was part of the deal here.
Yeah, and Nebraska was good when I was a little guy, man. I mean, hell, they blew us out and won a national championship or something like that. So, I mean, like
5-year-old.
the Cornhuskers, hey, look, they're back. They got Rayo. And by the way, there's a guy named Pat out there on Twitter that said, okay, well, he's good. And then he decommits from Georgia. He's like, he's not good. He just won the starting job. Okay. Can't tell him he's not good.
Low bar. But no, I think the kid's good. I'm excited. Like I said, we joke, we jab. I have zero beef from Nebraska, so I don't really have any hate here. There's teams that I don't mind talking about and just seeing how well they do. Oregon obviously being one of them. Good.
This is why I kind of like NIL, because it kind of evens the playing field a little bit. I don't think that Nebraska. Well, maybe Nebraska would have got him anyway because of the relationship with parents. Yeah. But like, think about like NIL and where some of these like top quarterbacks have gone. They've gone to schools that you would never think about at times, and you're just like, okay, well, now more schools have top 100 5-star quarterbacks on top of some of the talent they may have gotten from. I mean, look at what Georgia Tech's done recently with the 5-star offensive lineman, and then I think they're in it for like a top 100 guy too. So, I mean, NIL is starting to make the rounds now, and boosters and everybody are starting to figure it out. Unfortunately, Scott Strickland still hasn't figured it out after like a million years at Florida. But hey, we are starting to see more teams get on an even playing field, and it's kind of fun. I mean, hell, I see Oregon's sitting at number 10 right now and only has 15 commits. Like, if they keep
Oregon
going,
is benefiting from it, and
they're gonna have the number one class. If they keep going, they're gonna have the number one class. If they get like 25,
they're definitely trending in that direction. They have the highest quality of class right now. But yeah, I think that was the whole point of NIL, and what was the exciting part of NIL is that it could level the playing field. Georgia Tech's a great one. Memphis is another one. They landed that quarterback that Florida was in, the 4-star quarterback. I can't think of his name currently. SMU is recruiting well. Tennessee, yeah, I hate to say it, but they're on a burner. They're on a burner,
yep.
And it's not because Heupel can recruit. They have had a top NIL program since it started, and it is seeming to. Obviously, you saw them getting a little bit of trouble with the NCAA, but they've cleared that up, and they are humming now in recruiting. And you guys can get pissed off at me. Syracuse is another one. They get Fran Brown from Georgia. There's these schools that look, put the right coach into place. Okay, now we can kind of play with the big dogs, make some moves happen. So I love it. I think it's great for football. I mean,
it all starts with a quarterback. So
I think the 12 teams too. 12-team playoff opens the door for these teams to be more competitive and to get a chance into the dance. And more kids are seeing that. It's like, I can go play over here, and we've got the path's a little bit lighter. We got a chance to make it, and more eyeballs on me, more TV deals. Good.
I was going to say, yeah, you got to think about it with like Florida's schedule too, like the strength of schedule, having the number one, hardest schedule in college football. I mean, you go 9-3, you're probably in a playoff.
Oh, absolutely. I think 9-3 is a lock. 8-4, I think, is the line of whether or not they could be in it. And Scott says Auburn has done well too. A lot of schools have done well that are, in the last few years have not done well. They're kind of up in there. This last little bit here, Feinball's been on a tear lately, just spewing out nonsense. It's been fun to watch. He says the Alabama dynasty is done. He goes, we've had Georgia win twice and Michigan win once. And I mean, dynasties are fun talking season conversations, and whether there is one, I think there's a conversation is Georgia's dynasty now, and I think people are saying one more until that's locked in. But I was thinking about it, I'm like, is Bama's dynasty over? Look, I think Nick Saban's dynasty is over because he quit. But to say Bama, they won the SEC championship last year and were in the Final Four. I can't say that it's over. And even going into this season, there's still a lot of hype behind Alabama. They're recruiting at a high level still. I think if they lose this year because it's kind of been dwindling out, then yes, I will say that the sizzle is out. But I can't confirm that it's over yet. I don't feel like it's done yet.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, you look at the talent at Alabama, there's still a lot of talent there. I mean, pound for pound, they can go with any team in college football with the talent they have. Now, the coaching part of it with Kalen DeBoer, we're going to have to wait and see. I mean, he may be a better offensive mind than Nick Saban. They're putting up 50 points per game, and they're just destroying teams. We don't know that. So for him to say that, it's a little bit too early. It's kind of like a hot takey. But he, like you said, he's been on one. He's had a little bit of an attitude. And he used to be like an Alabama homer. So I have zero clue why he would say that. And just because Nick Saban retired does not mean that Alabama's going to go away anytime soon. Now, they start losing games they shouldn't lose, and it kind of does like a little Will Muschamp spiral, like kind of with us, then yeah, you can kind of say maybe Alabama's done. But like I said, it's starting to even out in college football. Like Georgia right now, I think they got 22 commits. They're number 4. They're used to being like number 1 all the way up top. I don't think Georgia may hit the top 5 this year in recruiting. They may not. I mean, looking at what Tennessee's doing, Auburn's doing, Oregon's doing, NIL has really, like I said, even the playing field. So for him to say maybe the Alabama dynasty is done, possibly so, maybe with NIL, but right now you can't really say that just because of the amount of talent that Alabama has on the roster right now.
Yeah, I think I look at it as like a no-hitter or perfect games being pitched, and you just go to a second pitcher, right? Like it's not the same guy, but you can still complete the no-hitter in a sense. So you're just passing the dynasty over. You can't win an SEC championship and go to the Final Four. Sure, they haven't won one in a while, but I think a dynasty encompasses just a success in the sport. I mean, the Patriots dynasty lasted for a long time. They didn't win every year, but making the playoffs every year, being a legitimate threat, going to the ACC championship, those things, in my opinion, are part of that dynasty. You can't win the SEC championship and say, hey, they're kaput. No, I don't. I think he's the crazy take. But look, I would say it's on the teeter. So DeBoer has an opportunity to keep moving.
I mean, Michigan got caught cheating. Maybe that was part of why Alabama lost to Michigan. Never know.
Yeah, you can kind of put an asterisk on that loss. I think, look, if they drop the ball this year, and then next year really kind of will determine. But if they kind of fall short when only losing 4 games, you can kind of say that it's coming to an end. But good stuff there, boys and girls. Let's do one last little bit here. Almost 500 strong, not 200 likes yet, but over an hour long. Great show. Let's talk about a few things. The schedule's coming up. We've got a big week and a half here leading up to Miami. We do have to do one little more shout out here.
What you looking at? You're not looking at Naughty
Bet US. We got to do it in the second hour. So, real quick, again, link is in the description. Check out Bet US. First 3 deposits up to 125, or your first deposit up to $2,000, you get 125% back. Again, link is in the description. Check that bad boy out with Bet US. We're powered by them all season long. So you guys, this isn't gonna be the first time or the last time you hear about them. We're pumped to be partnered with them. Great picks. This is my high top parlay pick of the week. Next week we're gonna have our pick'ems, Dave, which is a fun part of the show. We had a great time where we do those. Yeah, that's my
favorite segment.
Those are a blast. So there's only 4 games this week, so not enough to do that for this. But again, link is in the description on that one. So let's talk about what is to come. Friday, you're interviewing the Pouncey brothers. Thank you for the signed bottle. Good looks on that. I appreciate that. Should be a good time. And then so that's Friday. And then next week we have Wednesday. We're trying to get Coach Hayes, who is a Miami fan. He should come on here because he owes us. Not really.
And by the way, everybody that watches the show, Coach Hayes is a good dude. So
great guy. Yeah, even though he's a Miami fan. Nick Barbera from NIL from Florida Victorious will be on the show to talk kind of the future of Florida Victorious, where things are headed, the events that are going to be happening this season. We may get a player. That's up in the air still. So be on the lookout for that. Wednesday show is going to be a banger. I mean, obviously, it's going to be the game, the show before the game. And then it starts, boys. Friday, we head on down to the Ville. Dave and I will be at Alma Mater. Can you tell them what the address is? And then we're going to obviously make a flyer for people if they want to come see us. But
I don't know the exact address off the top of my head. I'd have to look it up, but we'll make a flyer. We'll have the address out there on Twitter, and I'll tweet it out and I'll pin it up on my Twitter. Maybe Sheldon, you can pin it up too, but we'll put the address there on the flyer when we send it out. But yeah, we'll be there from 4 to 5. And if you guys want to come by, see us, maybe buy some merch from good old buddy Brian up there. He's one hell of a guy, man. Great artist, great artwork too. You walk in there, you look around, you'll see all the great artwork. All of it is by Brian. So.
Sucker for some good art. I had to hit him up for that. That's at 4 o'clock, we said, right?
Yeah, 4 p.m. to 5 p.m., and then we're going to mosey on down to the Florida Victorious event at 6 p.m.
That's going to be fun. We always love the Florida Victorious events. They're an awesome time. It's always a great party. So I think there's not going to be any Gator players there, obviously, given with the circumstances, but I think basketball, usually softball, baseball, more likely are usually there. They trickle in.
Yeah, they did one last year at the Swamp Restaurant, I believe, and there was like a bunch of baseball players. I got to talk to Jack Kaggs, by the way. Didn't know I was talking to like a future Hall of Famer either. So
we've had him on the show. Great guy. And then Saturday, we're gonna be at Harmonic Woods tailgate all morning long, 8 a.m. to about. I'm gonna be there to about 1, 2 o'clock. Then I gotta go head back to the crib because I gotta get fucking settled in for the game. but we'll be there partying. Stephen Harris is going to make an appearance. I know he's doing he's doing a lot of tailgates come Saturday, but he said he'll be there. He'll stop by, come say, hey, come get a picture with him. He would love to see everybody. I know that for sure. We'll be there for our High Top Game Day show. We will be having a High Top Game Day show this Saturday for week 0 as well at 9:30 a.m. A lot of you guys joined us last year. It was kind of new. I threw it off. I kicked it off last year off the dome. That's what I do, and it really turned into a really fun time. We bring on multiple content creators. Ali Peak will be one. We bring on Ty Hayes, big time Alabama fan. Jake Crane makes a couple of appearances. Holly made a few to represent FSU. I've got a Pitt content creator that I absolutely love. He's so good at his job. He'll be on there a couple times. We've got our Duck, Derek the Duck, that will be on. We've got Jason from Oklahoma. We get a lot of fan base, a lot of different people to come on to represent their team. It's like an around the horn style where there's competitive. They talk shit. It's really cool. We try to give you a different alternative from from game day during that day. So look, we're here, boys. We made it. I don't know what else to tell you.
Yeah, man. I'm pumped, man. Like, I'm so pumped for like this weekend. I get to interview the Pouncey brothers, and then next week it's like WrestleMania weekend almost in a way. Like, you got the Pouncey brothers, then you got one hell of a show on Wednesday, then you got Alma Mater on Friday, then you got Harmonic Woods on Saturday, and then the game. I mean, it's like WrestleMania weekend. I love the first week of college football.
Yeah, it's like Super Bowl week, right? Like we're just ramping up to the big game,
and we get to watch Georgia Tech beat down Florida State this weekend. It's great.
God, I mean, you want to kick my season off right. Let's go ahead and get it done. And Mega Malicious, get Coach Coupon. I thought about getting Coach Coupon. I really did. I'm going to be honest with you. The fact that guy keeps his air conditioning, he lives in Florida. He keeps his air conditioning at 81 degrees. I can't trust that guy. I don't know if I can bring him on here. Yeah, I don't know if I can bring him on here and have like a genuine conversation with him. That's psychopath behavior. Like I would be concerned if we got him on here. Like I would be worried that he's sweating.
I would worry, like, if he keeps it at 81, what if he like wants to go into a sauna? What does he put it at then?
Dude, I just feel like I'm like, why even have air conditioning? You live in Florida. I don't get it. It concerns me. Now mine's probably on the Richter scale. I keep mine at like 68. Hence the hoodie. I like it frisked. I like it frosty. But 81 day. Like my thing is, I've always said you can put clothes on, right? You can put layers on. You can't, I mean, you can take clothes off, but you shouldn't take clothes off. You know what I mean? 81 is.
No, that's like caveman heat. Like, you might as well go live in a cave.
This is where, look, I got nothing but love for Coach Coop. I'm joking here, so nobody take this too seriously. But what I was going to say was, like, operating at 81, you're frying upstairs a little bit. And that's where we're getting the Miami content from. It's the guy's spewing nonsense out. You know what I mean? That's where I was headed. Mega Militia 65. See, his brain is cooked. See what I'm saying? That's where I was going. The guy's running on fumes over there at 81 degrees.
I don't mind old Coop, man. Coop's a good dude.
No, he's cool as shit. I got nothing. The guys, listen, all my great relationships have started with beef. Uncle Lou, Jake Crane. It's me taking a shot over the bow. If you take it on the chin and you laugh, we'll be best buds forever. If you get all emotional, then you'll just go to the bank.
Yeah, I mean, Shelton makes fun of my mom all the time. So.
Yeah, like it's just the way that I love, again, Mark Scott, right? Somebody on Twitter who I constantly were just at each other's throat. Never met the guy in my life. Like that, my best friends and conversations is like, look, you can't take what I say that seriously. We're joking, taking shots here. Like it's I don't know. That's how my brain functions, but not everyone takes it that way. Sports Highlight 3.0 says, Shelton, you see where Steve Spurrier has Florida winning 8 to 10 games? I did. I think it was with Dan Higgins. I think he was with today. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't him. I know he did. I think it was. He's like, yeah, I think Florida wins 8 to 10 in that 9 range. And look, I was going to talk about that a little bit. I guess we can. I'm bad about picking because you guys know I always say Florida's 12-0. So what I've learned of how I function is I do percentages, right? So on my comfortability of going into the game. So that's what we'll do now. Or should I do it next week? What do you think?
Well, ESPN has us at like 57.3% to win next week. That's ESPN now.
So for Florida, that's where I'm at. I'm at that 65, 60-40, 70, 70-30. A little bit of a feel there, but of confidence of winning that game. And then I have kind of my confidence throughout the season. I can't, as a fan, asking any other team, I'll give you a non-biased actual opinion about it. As a fan, it's like a UFC fighter. It's like, hey, who would you lose to? They're gonna say nobody. Like, it's just, I can't have the mentality that I'm gonna lose. I am not going to go into the mentality of we're going to lose this game. I can't. I'm sorry. There's plenty of other content creators that will give it to you on the Florida side. Nick Del Toro has no problem of making us go 5-7. I'm just not doing it. I can't do it.
Bane 1 and 2. Bane's coming for you. Never heard of her. Yeah.
3-4 Kane's at your door. I'm like, that's cute. That's cute.
Yeah, I mean, he's like got what, sonnets and rhymes and everything else out there. I mean, like, it's a musical thing. You know, it's what these Miami fans do. They spit like a whole bunch of weird stuff.
I love it. I love it.
Lot-
Let's read the chat
A lot
here
of
for
it,
you.
like, capital letters, lots of emojis. Like, I don't know if that adds to like the text, but nobody really cares.
All these accounts are fake. They'll be gone in a couple weeks. James says it's 51 in Kentucky this morning. Man, that is beautiful. Beautiful.
51. And yeah, it's starting to cool down a little bit here now. It's starting to get in like the 80s, like mid 80s.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I thought it'd be hotter longer, but I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining. Boys, we need 6 likes for 200 likes. I mean, just show some damn love. But look, guys, I appreciate you as always. 1 hour, almost an hour and a half. Long show. I did not anticipate the show going that long, but we were humming. We were vibrating. We were having a good time, as we normally do.
A little bit extra
OT.
credit.
A little bit of OT. I love it.
A little bit of cheese on the Whopper.
I love it. He said, whoa. Florida Gator, Stadium Miguel. Shout out to Stadium Miguel. Great content. They landed an interview with...
yeah, they got an interview with Emmett Smith coming up.
I almost said Fred Taylor, but yeah, Emmett Smith. I was like, I'm drawing a blank here. No Nick slander. No. That wasn't Nick slander. Nick keeps it a buck. Nick keeps it a buck. I got nothing but respect for him, but I can't do that.
I was gonna say, y'all go check it out. The Emmett Smith interview. I don't know when it's gonna drop, but I'm pretty sure it's on their next episode. So y'all go ahead and check that one out.
They get some legends on that show. So go give them a follow, a subscribe, show them some love. Nick, Silk, and Dan. You guys be good. We love you as always. We hit 200 likes. I appreciate you, boys. Thank you so much. You guys be good. We love you. Thank you. And a shout out to our sponsors at BetUS. We'll see you boys in the next one. Peace and love, baby.